Preview season continues here on Armchair Analysis, and today we are talking about the Baylor Bears. What can Dave Aranda's squad look like here in 2025? We'll talk about all that and more here, including a 12-game schedule prediction. Make sure you stick around. If you're new around here, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of today's video. Really enjoying the sense of community we're kind of building around here. We're continuing to grow. We're up over 120 subscribers. We're about 3 off of that 125 mark right now. So any new subscribers, welcome, and again, feel free to utilize that comment section. It's always a lot of fun to go back and forth, have good conversations, or tell me I'm done. I don't really care. We have a lot of fun here, and really enjoying it. So with that said, let's go ahead and talk about Baylor here in 2025. And this is a team that last year went 8-5, 6-3 in Big 12 play. Really started to turn things up towards the end of the year. This is a top 20 offense in terms of scoring offense. 34.4 points per game. This was a team that really came into their own as the year went on. Figured out their run game, figured out who the quarterback was. There's a question mark, DeQuan Finn or Sawyer Robertson. Sawyer Robertson would take over the job and walk away with it. Really leave no doubts as to who the quarterback was, leading to DeQuan Finn deciding to transfer out, go on separate ways. He actually would return to the MAC to take over the quarterback job for the Miami Redhawks. This team last year defensively allowed 26.7 points per game. It doesn't really tell the full story though, but it does tell the majority of it. That is a team that was a little worse for wear last year defensively. Definitely needed to make the additions that they did, needed to gain the experience that they did. And I think the amount that they bring back on top of what they replace and bring in and through the portal is going to do a really good job to maybe tone that down a little bit. They were 81st last year in scoring defense. They were 24th in turnover margin per game. Sawyer Robertson did a great job taking care of the football. The defense did a good job of forcing turnovers and creating those opportunities with 8 forced fumbles, 14 interceptions last year. You top that off with a 37th ranked recruiting class and a 49th overall portal class, bringing in 22 commitments. This team looks like they have a lot of potential. And not only that, we talk about being 8-5. They were 8-4. They were on a 6-game winning streak last year prior to going to the bowl game, where they would ultimately end up losing to LSU in, I believe, the Texas Bowl. So when we look at this coaching staff, it's Dave Aranda, Jake Spavital, offensive coordinator, Matt Powledge, defensive coordinator by name only. Dave Aranda really leads and controls the majority of the defense. They return 8 starters offensively. That's a big deal. Sawyer Robertson, Bryson Washington, Dawson Pendergrass, you could probably consider another starter or somebody who played a considerable amount. He was RB2 last year, going to be RB2 again this year. Josh Cameron, Ashton Hawkins return both at receiver. But then you also bring in Cole Wilson. Kobe Prentice, of course, coming from Alabama. Cole Wilson coming over from Texas State. You bring in Michael Trigg, returns from last year's roster, really stepped up towards the end of the year. Excited to see where he looks and how he develops over the course of this season. And then they return 4 or 5 starters from last year and a team that was graded in the top half of the Power 4 in both pass blocking and run blocking, specifically top 20 in the Power 4 and run blocking with a 69.3 grade, graded 71.3 in pass block. This is a team that I think has a lot of true offensive potential. This is a team that I think can be, another team of 35 plus points per game. And I think the defense, let's talk about them real quick. Again, it's kind of Dave Aranda's baby, if you will. I mean, and Matt Powledge is going to be a part of it, going to help with the coaching, but the majority of the play calling comes from Dave Aranda. The majority of what they do as a whole really runs through the head coach, of course. Yards per play allowed, though. This team allowed 5.7 yards per play. That was 79th ranked in college football in that category alone. Along with the points per game allowed, they just need to cut that down a little bit. You don't have to be great because the average sits around that 5.2 margin, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to go back and double check, but they just need to cut it down. And I think if you can do that, specifically not allowing as many big plays, I think, is the biggest thing. They allowed a lot of chunk plays last year. You can cut those down. I think you cut down that number and put yourself in a better position to win football games and again, give up less points. Just put yourself in a better overall position. Maybe even to win the Big 12. I mean, that's a serious conversation in Waco right now. They returned 5 starters from last year, and Keaton Thomas leads the team in returning tackles. We had multiple players with 7 tackles for loss. Jackie Marshall had 3 sacks last year. Devin Bobby returns. He led the team in interceptions with 3. Then multiple players forcing 1 fumble. This is a team that has a lot to be excited for there in the returning category. Then you got Devin Turner, Matthew Fields White from Tulane coming in, Travion Barnes coming over from FIU, and Marion Winston coming over from Oregon. They're really excited about a lot of the additions, and again, just having a lot of experience back on this defense, I think, is going to play a really big role into how this Baylor team plays this year. I mean, if they progress the way you would expect an Aranda defense to progress, and the offense just being, I don't want to say loaded, but I think they're an underrated offense right now. This has a potential to be a really good football team, and again, a Big 12 contender. And that's kind of what my thoughts ended up being. This might be one of the most well-rounded teams in college football. Good defense, good offense. Feels like the biggest contender to ASU being Arizona State. They just have to take advantage of the light Big 12 schedule. That's really the big conversation here is the schedule that they're put up against. And with that said, let's go ahead and pull said schedule up on the screen for you. Over-under sits at 7.5 for these guys. Odds to win the Big 12 plus 650. That's top 3 in the conference. And then they are plus 18,000 to win a national championship. It's not necessarily light, but it certainly is nice because you get a lot of your tougher conference games at home. Utah, Arizona State, Houston, Kansas State. You do have those road trips. Stillwater's still tough no matter how down we think Oklahoma State is. TCU is going to be a tough road game. Nippert Stadium is always going to be a tough one to play. And even going out to Tucson and facing Arizona, it's not necessarily light, but I think that it is workable. You look at the non-conference schedule, Auburn and SMU, that's tough. Those are 2. Auburn's expected a huge improvement. SMU was a ACC championship participant last year. And then Samford is kind of this quiet team out of the SoCon that could maybe do something too. It's not an easy schedule. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's the most difficult thing in the world. They miss a lot of the tougher teams. They miss the BYUs, supposedly, the Colorados, you miss Kansas, you miss Texas Tech, even, kind of the big one there. We'll see where this team kind of progresses to and what they can turn into. But if they are anything like I expect, I mean, this is a really, really good team. And with that said, I mean, let's go ahead and predict it. So you start off with that game against Auburn at home. That's a Friday night game. And I think this game being in Waco means a lot. Look, there's a lot of conversation around which one of these teams is better off or what it could look like for Auburn to lose this game, what it could look like for Baylor to win this game. And for me, I just think that you look at all the change going on for Auburn versus all the consistency, all the returning production for this Baylor team. And then you add in the fact that Baylor gets this thing at home to kick the season off the right way, I think is a huge deal. And I think they'll do just that. I think that Baylor is going to win this game. It may be close, but this is a team that I think is going to be able to utilize that experience and again that year and change of working together for the most part to really put themselves in a really good spot. You get a road trip to SMU, and while I like SMU this year, I still think they're going to be a really good team. I'm not sure that I'm fully buying them as this ACC contender again in 2025. And personally, I'm taking Baylor to get the win over SMU. I think that this offense is just going to be a little bit too much for the SMU side to really keep up with. Get a win over Sanford, a 3-0 start. You're really comfortable before you go on. Well, you stay at home and get Arizona State. And I think this game is just simply going to come down to the fact that ASU is going to be good, and I think that it's going to come down to who we can trust on defense a little more. Right now, I lean towards ASU as the trusted, proven defense. Therefore, Arizona State is the team I'm taking to win that game. Go on the road to Stillwater. I think they get a win. I think they're just that much better. At this point, it really comes down to how good can Oklahoma State get versus how good does Baylor come out of the gate. I think they'll be just fine, and they'll get a win there. And get a home win against Kansas State. I think that this is a game that you look at. These are two teams that are projected top 3 in the conference, at least by betting odds, and I don't blame anybody for wanting or thinking Kansas State's up there. I think they're up there. I think they're that good of a team. They have a lot to like. Personally, just taking the home team here, I think that that's going to be the ultimate deciding factor is the McLean Stadium crowd in Waco. You get a road trip to TCU, and this one, not really taking the home field advantage. I just think that Baylor has a better team right now. I think that, again, similarly, when I talked about Arizona State game and said that defense was going to probably be the reason that a team wins or loses, it's going to come down the same way here. And again, who do I trust more defensively? The answer is Baylor. I'm going to take Baylor to get a win. It's going to be a close, fun football game against TCU. One of my probably must-watch games of the year. Road trip continues. They face Cincinnati the week after. I think that's going to be a really fun football game, but at the end of the day, the momentum coming off of a rivalry win pushes them forward. They get a win over Cincy. They'll beat UCF and get a home win, even coming out of a bye week against Utah. Sitting here right now, they are at 9-1 going into the final 2 games of the year, and it's a road trip against Arizona. I think that this is just going to be kind of at the point where, again, who's better? What team is playing better football at this time of the year? And truth be told, I think Baylor will just be the better team in general, but they'll be playing better football, more momentum behind them. Get another win, and then you get a home game against Houston, and this is going to be a tough one. But I am taking a win here for Baylor. I'm taking 11-1, 8-1. This is kind of my out on a limb team, really. And it's not really that out on a limb because they're third. They're projected third in the Big 12. I just really like what they look like, what they're becoming, and what they, I think, have potential to be. This is not a flashy pick. As a matter of fact, this might be, I don't want to say controversial because I use the term controversial when I predicted another team, and it came off the wrong way because what people, I think, misunderstand is that I don't watch other CFB content creators or college football related shows. And the ones I do watch are more so like informative, learning about certain schools, trying to figure out who they have or who they're excited about. And that didn't really happen for me here with Baylor. So I don't really know what other people are saying about these teams when I'm predicting them or talking about them. I kind of just know what the internal vibes are. And you kind of can read between the lines on what they're saying or what they don't feel like they can say because they don't want to upset anybody. This Baylor team, there's a lot of high hopes in Waco, and I think that there's a very good reason for that. You got a great quarterback, or at least a good quarterback, and a lot of really good pieces around him. I'm excited for Kobe Prentice and even Cole Wilson to an extent. Those two guys transferring in at wide receiver, I think, are going to make a really big difference. Going to help Josh Cameron out, getting a little bit more for himself as well. Again, I love Bryson Washington coming back. Dawson Pendergrass was a great secondary running back to Washington. It's just a really fun team, a really fun offense. And, I mean, Jake Spavital draws it up, man. He is a very creative mind. This team just has a lot of potential behind him, and I'm buying into it, and I'm going to ride or die with it, as I do with all these picks. Again, I don't really care if you like what I'm predicting. Tell me if I'm wrong with what I'm talking about with the teams. If there's somebody I'm missing, if there's person or a position group or something that I'm off base with, let me know. I'm always glad to have those conversations. When we argue opinions, it's just kind of like we're not really ever going to see eye to eye, and I don't mind that. That's fine. That's how life works. We're not always going to agree. We're not always going to have the same opinions. I welcome all opinions. I want them all in the comments section below. Let me know what you guys think about this Baylor team. What do you expect for them? What is success? You look at the schedule, I think anything less than 8 wins, they're going to be a little disappointed. And truth be told, they can be 8-4 and be 7-2 in Big 12 play and be right in the mix of championship conversation still. So they're going to be a fun team to watch. I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are too. If you're in Waco, let me know what you think. Make sure you stick around though. We got plenty more. We are doing 68 teams in 69 days. 69 days because I missed a day earlier in June. Otherwise, it would have been 68 straight days. Gotten a couple requests for some G5 teams. I'm going to find a way to make those happen if I can. Within the possibility of my schedule, it'll probably be another week or two before they come out. But I am working through the potential for that to happen. So make sure you stick around for those too. Let me know if you guys actually want to see them. I'll get to as many requests as I can. But it's not gonna, there's no guarantees with those, just simply because it's a lot to do. I'd have to double upload and figure out a way to get all that done. So appreciate y'all for tuning in though, as I am currently out of town. So all of this is pre-recorded. All of this is before any news may break about whatever teams are going to be coming out, whatever teams may lose somebody or have anything going on. So yeah, just again, I'll be happy to interact in the comments. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Tomorrow you're going to see Michigan. As you see behind me, we got, well, I'm doing the wrong thing, but whatever. Point being, you can see behind me. I know what people are going to say. I don't really care. Because you're going to get an honest, candid opinion about this team and what it could be in 2025. The same way you did about South Carolina. So, looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. Make sure you stick around. Again, if you're new, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. And again, we'll see you tomorrow with the Michigan Wolverines.